And and Anjana, congratulations on a 7:30 and welcome to this debriefing session. It must feel wonderful.
Yeah, really feels wonderful and relieved.
Okay. So let's talk about your preparation. When did you think about preparing for the GMAT and how did you go about it?
The initial thought came about in towards maybe the end of September last year.
Okay.
And I bought the official guide in October, first week around October, but I seriously started preparing only in December.
Okay.
And when I just started preparations, I made sure that I book my date so that I keep my preparation on track. So in December, I booked my first GMAT date for, I believe, February beginning. But the preparations didn't go that well. Work got a bit hectic, so I was really not prepared. So I pushed my date to April 2nd week. But this was not when I had purchased e-GMAT. So this was just a self-study, just going through the official guide and few other guides available online. A few of my friends who had written GMAT before, they provided me some guides, namely Manhattan. Manhattan Prep. So I went through that, and it was a very unstructured study, to be very frank. I just prepared from here and there, wherever I got questions from. A little bit of quant here, a little bit of verbal there. I really didn't have any structure at all. So I kind of knew that I would not be hitting my target for 700 in my first go.
Okay.
But during my preparation around in February, I came across e-GMAT and I started attending the free live sessions.
Okay.
And they were really amazing. I was really impressed, and I realized that there's so much more that I have to do. But still, I gave it a shot. I wrote my GMAT, but it was a 50-50. I was just trying my luck, I should say. But I knew that if I didn't hit my 700, I knew what to do. I have to purchase the e-GMAT course.
Okay.
I went ahead and I scored a 640 with the verbal score of 27. And I knew from the very beginning that verbal was my weak point. Quant, I could manage quant. I have been performing consistently at 49 in quant. But verbal, I was very poor in verbal. I knew that. And I still remember I wrote my GMAT exam in April 21st. I came back home. The very first thing I did was to purchase e-GMAT live course. And I remember mailing Jessica and asking her that, I see in your calendar that there's a batch starting tomorrow. So can I join? And she said, yeah, definitely you can join tomorrow, but make sure you, complete the prerequisites. And luckily I had attended the free session, and the first session was a free session. So I could take a break for one day. But I made sure that I joined the very next batch that I could. Mainly because I didn't want to lose the momentum that I had gained. Because if I take a break, I knew that I would be a bit lethargic. To get back into the zone would be very difficult. So I think that was one good thing that I did. And this time I knew the approach because there was someone like e-GMAT to guide me, especially in the verbal part. And the other thing I made sure was to attend all the live prep sessions.
Okay.
I made sure that I forget the whole fact that there are recordings available. Because I wanted to make sure that I attend the verbal live session itself, because attending the free sessions were really helpful. And I just wanted to continue doing that. Mainly because when you attend the live sessions with your peers, you know exactly where you stand. And in that timed environment, you get to know how many mistakes you make, what kind of mistakes you make, and the explanations are really good. So I wanted to utilize that because whenever I tend to see the recordings, what I do is I pause the video, take my own sweet time, do my questions. So that takes about 5 minutes to solve a question, and I get it right, but there's no point. So that is one thing that I made sure I do.
That is very good, by the way.
Yeah, it really helped. The live sessions really helped. I think that is the best thing I liked about e-GMAT verbal course. And as I said, in the first attempt, I didn't have an approach at all. And in the second attempt, the approach that e-GMAT recommended was really helpful, especially for SC and CR. They were really helpful, and it's a bit tricky to get the hang of it, but once you get the hang of it, it's a cakewalk, I must say.
So you follow the meaning-based approach in sentence correction. Okay.
Yes, and the pre-thinking in CR.
That is good. So how long did it take for you to get the hang of it, as you said?
So second, around 2 months.
Around 2
months, I must say, because to be very frank, my study was not regular because my work got a bit hectic in between. So it was not, my study pattern was not very consistent. So it took a while for me to, get into the hang of it, get the approach properly. Even when I gave my second attempt, I knew that I was not mastering RC because I concentrated more on SC and CR because I knew that I could improve there. My reading comprehension is really poor, I must admit. So I knew that I had a lot of work to do on RC. So I kept that aside, concentrated on SC and CR. I practiced a lot on that area. RC, mainly what I did was scholarinium the questions, obviously, and a little bit of reading here and there, general reading, especially the Economist. I took up a habit of reading Economist regularly.
That is good, yes.
Yes, so I gave my second attempt in July last week. But again, I was more confident than my first attempt. But again, I was not confident that I would crack the barrier. But I scored a 670 with a V33. So it was from V27 to V33 was an improvement. But still, I hadn't hit my target yet. And I knew that it's because of RC. It's purely because of RC. Because with this new approach, with this new pattern in GMAT, we have 4 RCs, 4 questions each, and lesser questions in SC and CR. So I had to master RC. There's no other way. So I had 1 month. I gave myself 1 month time. And I booked my third attempt for August last week. And in this 1 month, I did not really do much of CR and SC. It was all about reading. Just read whatever I could do. I did not even, I should say, practice RC as such. I took up Economist articles. I started reading them. I started analyzing them as reading comprehension passages.
That is very important.
So the first paragraph, okay, this is the introduction. Second paragraph, okay, after the second paragraph, what does it say? Okay, advantages. Second paragraph, disadvantages. And I must admit that I didn't take notes because taking notes, it's time consuming.
You were taking notes. It's just you weren't writing down notes.
Yes, exactly. It was just mental notes.
Yes.
So yes, that is one thing that I did for about probably 2.5 weeks at a stretch. Every day morning, I used to wake up at early in the morning, do this for like one hour, and that used to continue for 2.5 weeks.
2.5 weeks. Okay.
2.5 weeks at a stretch. But again, my work got really hectic in the last 2 weeks just before my GMAT. I had absolutely no preparations. I just couldn't prepare at all due to some personal reasons, work-related stuff. And luckily, I had booked my GMAT on a Sunday. So I got a Saturday off. And that Saturday was where I brushed up everything. I had my notes taken down from all the videos of e-GMAT. I went through them, practiced some 10 quant questions. And that's it. And I said, okay, I'm done. Let it be. Now let's just give it a shot. And I did not give any mocks in this 1 month. So I had no clue how much I had improved. And I said, okay, let me try. I've done my best. And I got a 730.
So how did it feel when you saw that score?
Wow. Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, it was very unexpected because in none of the mocks I had given had I touched B40, and B40 was never even in my target list. My target was B38, and B38 was like there. I never thought I would cross B38 because that was my target. And when B40 came up on screen, I was like, oh wow, really? Thank you.
Okay, yeah. That is really, really. I mean, I can imagine that feeling. Yes, and so I think I agree. I mean, to go from a V27 to a V40, I mean, like a 44 percentile to a 91 percentile.
Yeah.
It's an amazing improvement. And especially if you haven't taken a mock test, we don't expect, and you see that 730 score.
Yeah, really.
You're right on the screen.
In none of the mocks I had given had I touched the 700 mark. It has always been, the max I had scored was in 680.
Mm-hmm.
And that was not even the GMAT prep mock. The GMAT prep mock, the first one I had scored a 640. That was when I took it in January. And the second one I scored a 650, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, that was in the initial stages. So.
Okay, all right. So that I mean, so by the way, I see your ability score in scholarly name to 70 percentile, which is, I think, you improved really. Even I can really see that improvement over there. So I think that's really, really good. So, but essentially, if I summarize what you've done, is you actually mastered approaches, first in sentence correction, then in critical reasoning, even in reading comprehension. When you were just doing it and analyzing it, you were following, reading The Economist and analyzing each passage and taking those mental notes. It was mastering the approach. Once you had the approach right, you kind of pocketed RC, and that's when you got to 90 plus percentile on verbal. And essentially the GMAT's all about that, mastering the approach. So good job on doing that. Good job. And even though you weren't very regular, but the fact that you focused on doing things the right way definitely helped you. So when you had time, when did you so when the work wasn't as crazy, when would you study? So what time of the day?
Weekdays, I used to study in the mornings, mornings mainly, but there was a time when my work was a bit relaxed. I used to come back at 6:30. So those days from 7 to 9:30 in the evenings.
Okay.
Plus mornings. So those relaxed days, mornings plus evenings, or else morning 1 hour, 1.5 hours.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about where do you want to go next. So you work at Deloitte in technical front. So what do you want to do next?
Probably I'm looking at MBA in information management as the first preference, mostly from an Indian institute.
Which one? I'm sorry.
Indian institutes.
Which ones?
There is SP Jain.
SP Jain.
And
okay.
Yes, IMT Ghaziabad, Great Lakes or TAPME,
Okay.
IMI. So this is just a rough list, yeah.
Okay, but you're not looking at ISB or one of the other colleges?
Well, ISB, yes, but the thing is that I really want to join the next academic year. But and they have a criteria that before March they need to have 24 months of work experience. Which I don't think I would be having at that point of time. I fall short by 3-4 months, so I really don't think.
Have you talked to them?
No, not yet.
Okay, I would strongly recommend you speak with them, and I'm going to just stop